Good evening. Welcome to the August Inspiration. It's an evening of music and literature. It's wonderful to see everybody. My name is Steve Kelser. I'm the music liaison with the Arts Consortium. I was on the planning committee too for this event tonight, along with Doug Munson and Susan Coltrap-Quinn. And unfortunately, those two aren't able to be here tonight. Doug became ill last night, so he won't be performing. The musician Tom Bright, he became ill this afternoon, so it's like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not COVID, it's just people are getting sick, I guess. And the writers, Mona and Doug Affinito, are also not able to be here tonight. So here we are. Last minute, Barb Kelser will come in and she's going to read her short story and fill in for some of the people here. Give you a little info on back in February we started planning this event, and we invited writers and musicians to think about 4 prompts or themes and choose one and write something in response. And so we picked out Farewell, Someday, Forever, and The Meadow. And tonight we'll hear the creative efforts in response to these prompts. So I'm excited to hear this. So we're going to start off with a musical number, and we'll just take a second to get it set up here. But here we go.
I've been playing music with Mr. K here for since we were in our 20s. So, it's been a long time. The song we have for you is on the theme Someday, and the music was written by Steve Kelser and Tom Cedio, and Steve asked his friend Ed Salden if he would write some lyrics. And he told Ed about all the music that these guys played together. And Cedio was in our band too, so it's been, many decades. So Ed wrote the lyrics, and then I was the lucky one that got to sing the song. So that's my only contribution. So here it is. It's called Someday.
I wrote this under the theme, I guess, that it matched to was forever. I wrote it some years ago. I sent it in to the University of Virginia, got buried for the whole Chaska ghost story. I talked some time I spent in northern Minnesota. I lived in railroad caboose when I was first married, and then eventually ended up living there some years later in a hermit in 15 acres of woods. There was a woodpecker that came around. And so I wrote this. It was kind of started with, has anybody seen the movie Master and Commander with Russell Crowe? They had a scene in there where they're deciding which weevil is going to win, and tries to decide whether it's the bigger weevil or the littler weevil. Oh, into the mic. And so the thing was is that he said, Doctor, you always lesser of two weevils. And that's where I started this in the middle and then went backwards and forwards from the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. And my pen name is August Osprey Adler. Once, within a woodland cheery, I awakened, slow to scurry. Outside forest creatures kept on chattering as I'd never heard before. Hearing birds and squirrels squawking, crows were up and cawing. My neighbor had his chainsaw sawing, frenzied song. I seldom witnessed him sweat and slave so hard before. A spat at home, I thought, as I went about my daily chores. It must be this and nothing more. My memory is quite poor now, but as best I can remember, it was late in August, closer near September. Piles of crispy, crunchy leaves were scattered, scurrying across the forest floor. There was an eerie noise, like a villain laughing, wings like a pterodactyl flapping, serving to remind me I was very close to knocking on Demon Death's troubled door. A crazed, red-crested Archaeopteryx kept pounding upon my custom hand-carved cabin door, and as it did, my mind grew greatly sore. Terrible, defiant sounds began repeating, noise similar to jackhammers beating, rattling the trees with horrendous, haunting notes. Somehow I knew I'd heard that sound before. He's out there pecking, like a Gatling gun, wreaking havoc, whacking, wrecking, placing several monumental holes, acoustical scores, ancient rhythms, hideous designs, drumming dance tunes on my automobile doors. He's back, pecking holes into all I owned and more. That blasted woodpecker again, I muttered, while on and on he bored. And then that bloody rude woodpecker did worse than an auto wrecker. Relentlessly, he kept attacking everything in store and more. He drilled through leather seats, my dash and ceiling. For my car, he had no feeling. Then he commenced to drill right through the carbon steel floor. Why, that Mercedes-Benz was holier than it had ever been before. I cursed that bird, tremendous evil curses as on he bored, ceasing only briefly. Again the rapping started. I confess in fear I shuddered. Would I be pecked to death and martyred? Tapping sounds were clearly being hammered upon my entrance door. 'Tis affiliated, I thought. I stuttered this, for nothing else could rob me of my cottage door, my mind, and so much more. This insidious, incessant, irritating racket rapped tenaciously at my cabin door. Leave me be, I screamed. Yet this queer, black-backed, flying beast kept on knocking with its case-hardened ivory beak. Wood chips flew as on and on it tore. Again it seemed the sound retreated. It was deathlike, silent as it receded. Then again that devious bird was back, riveting repeatedly upon that wooden door. I could not bear to destroy it. For as it lived, I lived. My heart beat time the Valkyrie score. With what was left of logic and of reason, I surmised it was, after all, bug season. Why, that bird is perhaps just chasing weevils. And regardless of being lesser or greater weevils, at least the beast was draining from within them slippery, slimy guts, massive gulps of gooey gore. As quite possibly they did in the long-gone days of yore. Devouring bugs was this critter's mission, the reason for his fleshly fishing. Yet this particular woodpecker never stopped. It only tapped and stuttered, cracking windows, destroying shutters, penetrating wood, metal, my mind, and more, like I had read about in scientific books and old folklore. Other birds did flit and flutter, owls were hooting, grouse were drumming. Buntings, swallows, chickadees, and hawks would sing and dive and soar. This contrary woodpecker did this, and I might mention a great deal more. It was then my senses seething. I left my dwelling. My brain was reeling. Hives had formed. My skin was peeling. I'd gone quite mad. So much I went out snowmobiling. Though, as you know, the snow retreated many, many months before. I slipped into a wizard's trance, a horrendous, horrific dream, a dance. Murderous scenes kept invading. I knew this great warrior bird wanted more. I knew without him even speaking. I was aware that even void of speech, this creature was bent to rob me. My crimson blood would pour. That wretched rascal would not quit. Its prime directive was to tap my juicy core. This emboldened rapping kept repeating, kept on following me, revealing that this tormented mind was lost, thus sealing up my mortal fate, restraining me within these secure walls, chained and drugged. The reason why I'm cooped up, penned within these prison doors, chained and drugged inside these pressing walls, lowered ceiling, risen floor, the pileated fiend just outside, intent to steal my crumbling sanity, and so very much more. And now I drop here kneeling, praying that this ghastly ghost will stop derailing all my thoughts of untormented tides, untormented dreams, quiet tides, and peaceful shores. Or when will this flying feathered dinosaur assail some other mind-tossed soul? At what time will this terrible winged demon bird leave alone my craven spirit to haunt the swamps of the misty morn? Dear God, when might this phantom silhouette take his hellacious, hideous shadow to another place, peppering some other victim's door? Just how long would he gouge marks, gargantuan holes within my residential door? Quoth the woodpecker, forevermore. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanisha Jones, and I'm going to be singing You Bring Me Love. And the music was written by Steve, and the lyrics by myself. just like an angel. You bring me peace, just like an angel. A delicate smile, tender heart, carrying love like an angel. The one that I've been dreaming of all of the time. Knew you were right beyond God's sweet blessings to me. To me. You bring me love, high as a mountain. You bring me love, wide as a river. You bring me peace, just like an angel. You bring me peace, just like an angel. I looked beyond all of my scars, worthy of healing, to take a chance of life again. That's what you gave me. I knew this was my second chance at God's sweet blessings to me. To me. And you bring me love, just like a mountain. And you bring me love, wide as a river. And you bring me peace, just like an angel. You bring me peace, just like an angel to me.
Steve Kelser from Victoria, Chaska area here. I chose the meadow, and my song is called In the Meadow. If you don't know me very well, I live on a farm, and I've always thought the meadow was a place to go think and sort things out. So I kind of wrote this in that theme, that it's a place to dream, to think about life and stuff. So that is the premise of In the Meadow for me. So.
in the meadow we lay, we dream, we wait to feel the wind blow, the grass grows, the fields are alive, the meadow, it is life, it is hope, it is love to the lonely, to the broken hearts, to the ones who have gone and the ones who remain here in the meadow. I'll spend my time, this is where I'll stay.
Behind the stage and get Steve Smith out there.
All right. We're going to ad lib a little bit. The chord's not long enough for the guitar. And that means the microphone has to pick up my voice, which suddenly went away, and it has to pick up the guitar. So, my guitar might drown me out, and my voice might drown the guitar out. All right. Meanwhile, this song is about the farewell theme, and I chose to pay homage to 4 of my childhood heroes who really gave me a lot of entertainment. The icon of vampires, Bela Lugosi, the icon of Frankenstein, Boris Karloff, the ultimate first TV Superman, George Reeves from the 50s, and last but definitely not least is Alfalfa. Does anybody know who Alfalfa is? The little rascals. So anyway, it's a song about those 4 people, and there's some sad news about some of these guys. They had kind of a monstrous ending in some cases. Bela Lugosi, because of all the makeup, got into addiction, which contributed to his demise. George Reeves is quite a mystery because they don't know whether it was suicide or murder. They still don't know since the 50s. And Alfalfa, that's a weird one. He got shot over $50 that he owed somebody. However, Boris Karloff, a very kind and gentle person in reality, he died of natural causes. So here's my little tribute. I didn't think Bela Lugosi could ever die, and poor old Boris Boris laid down at his side. But I'd buy every ticket they got if they could step up out of their plots and pump those organs up just one more time. I didn't think that Alfalfa could grow so old. He was a shooting star whose voice started falling too low. But he'd probably still be on that stage if he didn't have to act his age. He might have been content if he had Clark Kent's old robe. I didn't think Bela Lugosi could ever die. It sure chokes me up when I think of those bloodshot eyes. But I hear that it was kinda rough to crack a smile through that stiff makeup. He took a lot of painkillers just to shoot a thriller through. But I didn't think Bella would pull up stakes so soon. Farewell, my friends.
My name is Jim Kane, and the theme I picked is Forever. Most, maybe not all of us, have been through incidents or stages of our life that may cause us to see, to alter our perception of what our personal forevers might be, whether that be temporal or spiritual. And this is a story about a man who has to make several adjustments in how he views forever. It's called The Secret Place. They were 18 when they first met. She was hiking north along an ancient trail at the crest of a bluff above Lake Pepin on the Mississippi River. He was hiking south and saw her resting beneath a massive, gnarled oak. Asked if he could join her, shared his backpacked lunch, and when he continued on, did so with her phone number tucked into his pocket. Soon they were at the tree together again, and it's a proper date this time, complete with picnic basket and wine. They drove in, his heavily bondoed '54 Chevy angling off a gravel country road onto a rutted path snaking through a broad meadow. Shimmering grasses sang softly in the summer breeze as he negotiated dips and swells and parked in the shade of the oak. She wore a long, loose peasant dress, wildflower headband, and sandals. He, his best ratty, bell-bottom jeans and a tie-dye t-shirt. It became their secret place. Beneath their oak, they had their first kiss, first made love, and envisioned a forever together as they declared themselves husband and wife, the tree their appointed witness. They gave thanks for his safe return from war here, cursed God as they grieved the loss of their only child, and found reconciliation. Through it all, this majestic watchman recorded their life's progress in its rings. She died 1 week shy of their 16th anniversary. Jonathan poured her ashes over a handful of trinkets she kept in a king-size glass Skippy peanut butter jar, screwed on the metal lid, sealed it with wax, and buried her in the protection of their tree 45 years ago. A lonely forever. But he'd promised her he'd soldier on, and he did, refreshing his spirit at the oak every year on their anniversary, except for the last two. The medical problems intervened and intensified an ongoing longing. He plans to satisfy it this day, but discovers much has changed in the uplands. The gravel road is now blacktop and bike lanes, the meadow a manicured subdivision, the rutted path non-existent. An adjacent park is his only access to the trail, and he hopes their oak still guards it. He leans heavily on his cane as he hikes in, breaking the journey into short segments, a rest on a boulder here, a break on a stump there. And then he spots the tree's identifying massive burrow and does not rest again until he closes the distance. Tears of relief mingle with sweat as he pats this old friend affectionately and leans against it for support, eases his 82-year-old body to the ground, mops his face, massages his knees, rests back against a deeply configured bark. He can see the river below and watches the tugboat shove a raft of barges upriver, muddy brown water boiling at its stern, diesel engines growling. Downriver, 3 sailboats tack against the remnants of its wake as Georgia leaf clouds decorate a pale blue canopy. Beautiful, isn't it, girl, he whispers as he feels Cassandra snuggle against him. Memories fill this sacred place like a flurry of autumn leaves and build up about him. Soon they will be a blanket, and he knows that it is time. He leans away from her, reaches for his water bottle and nestles it into a clump of grass at his hip, slips a vial from his shirt pocket. It contains 10 oxycodone tablets, pulverized for quick effect. He brings the container to his lips and tosses the powder back like a shot of whiskey, chases it with water, leans against Cassie again, and waits for the arrival of their new forever.
Is Sarah King, and let's see, I'm from Chanhassen and Navarre. Navarre's that spot in the middle of the Minnetonka Pond, kind of a crossroads. Let's see, my prompt is going to be Someday, and the title I finally picked, Once Upon a Time. I always like the idea of someday, the idea of tomorrow versus today. So that's what this is about. Someday I'll be beautiful with blonde hair and blue eyes. He wrapped his arms around me and said, someday I'll be rich and wise. I said, someday I'll be thin. My children will live close by. He smoothed my brow and kissed my lips. Someday I'll have met you when I was young, was his reply. Someday I'll eat pie from a tin and get up with the dawn at 4 a.m. Between the moments we ignore, the moments that will never be, I hope we live each day as if it's our last leaving legacy. Someday lives in the afterglow when the dusk turns to black. It's the place of quirks and foibles, all those things we wish we didn't lack. All our issues, fears, hopes, and dreams, all regrets left over from last time. The bips and bobs of accents, cultures, wishes, and regrets, thinking we've only one time to shine. Someday we'll remember that we are soul, joyous, perfect spark of God, learning how to love ourselves and each other. The Creator gives us eternity, reborning to understand the viewpoint of sisters, brothers, fathers, and mothers. Someday I'll read with the awesome local poets and have friends pulled from the storybooks. Someday I'll be happy with my size, my face, and my looks. Someday I'll have a flower garden where fat bundles visit every day. He pulled me close so I could hear his heartbeat. Someday you'll know how much I love you, was all his heart would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's leave the talking. The song is called Ghosts of the Night Trains, and the song is a little bit about urban wildlife, basically. So it's kind of a cross between a description of things that go on in a big drainage area that's behind my house in the city of St. Paul, where you have all kinds of, you have coyotes, turkeys, everything else. So, and also I've got this, the train thing goes on, where I've got the booming and banging thing. So that's where the name came from for the song. Let's see if we can get through it here. Let's see across that dusty crap. Black cars wheeling out midnight. Midnight horns out back in the field. Night train called Ghost where I'm from. But from here to everywhere, world hard steel. Deer across the trees. Cut off to find the sumac. Not so many jackrabbits as summer goes on. It's been about 5 months since I heard that coyote pack. Let's try this here. Well, night comes on, fireflies come out. Well, take over time. Those night trains boom on, boom on. From here, I see the chaos, man, war. Camps I used to see, parts of town now gentrified. Recall camps I used to see in parts of town now gentrified. I should read the words to you, but thanks.
Hello.
So my name is Sherry Kramer, and I live in Chanhassen. And this story, or this is a follow-up and a work in progress. It's a follow-up to my book, Heaven's Sweet Embrace. And the working title is Monk in Motion, and it takes place in the late 17th century in Korea, but you can imagine it wherever you want. So many stories. The more I wander, the more there are. Each story leads me to the next adventure, the next tale to tell. Everyone has a story, and everyone is hungry to hear one. Having grown up among monks, perhaps I cherish words more than most. Sometimes one word can tell the whole story. Other stories are nearly impossible to relay, no matter how many words are strung together. My parents could only feed so many mouths. As the eldest son, my father was responsible for his parents and unmarried sister. So the fourth child was left as an offering to Buddha. At the age of 6, I entered into the care of the monks. My mother, more somber than usual, tears sometimes sneaking over the edge of her lids, put together a cloth filled with enough food for the journey I was about to embark on. She didn't say a word the entire morning. After strapping the package onto my grandfather's back, she squatted down before me, her hands lightly holding mine. She kissed me once on the cheek and said, "Farewell," before putting my hand in my grandfather's and sending me off. Looking back at my mom, my house, my home, I caught sight of my grandmother squatting by the door, half hidden, crying. My father and siblings were nowhere to be seen. Perhaps they'd already left to tend the land. As soon as we reached the forest road leading to the monastery, my words caught up with me, and 1,000 questions found their way to my lips. One question spilled out and was replaced by the next. My grandfather said nothing. There was no space for him to speak, and I doubt he had many answers. I was anxious and excited and sad and thrilled, all at the same time. I didn't fully understand that I was being sent away, but at the same time knew that everything had changed. Melancholy and magic mingled together, shimmering in the air as we moved onward. Finally, all the questions came down to one. "Where are we going, Grandpa? Where are we going?" "Up the mountain to the monastery," was all he said. But it was enough to spur my imagination. I'd never been to a monastery. I'd seen monks with their shaved heads and alms bowls wandering through the market. One even came to the house once. We all ate just a little less because it's bad luck to refuse to serve a stranger a meal, especially a monk. "Why are we going to the monastery? Did something happen? Do you need something bad? Do you need to pray?" My grandfather just looked at me and kept walking. After a while, he started humming, then singing quietly, and I joined him. We walked like that until I pulled at his hand and whined that I was hungry. We sat down on a bed of fallen leaves the trees had shed in preparation for winter. There was an abundance of red and orange and yellow all around, and the smell that only comes from fresh fallen leaves mingling with the earth. If only I'd known that this was the last meal my mother had made for me, perhaps I would have known to savor each bite, to pay special attention to the texture and taste and smell, to remember the labor of my mother's last gift of love. In other words, I can't remember what we ate, and trying to imagine it only makes my world go dark and a lump settle in my throat. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what any of my family looked like. Their features disappeared long ago from my memory. All I have left is the feel of them, or rather, how I felt when I was with them. At At dusk, after a long hike up the winding path, we finally arrived at the monastery. I was tired and sore and had bloody blisters on my feet. I don't remember anything except being led to a room and falling into the blankets that had already been laid out. I like to think that my grandfather kissed me before he left, that he said some kind words. When I woke the next morning, he was gone. In his place were two boys about my age, sitting and staring at me as if to will me awake. As soon as I opened my eyes, they ran off to tell the abbot. I tried to get up, to follow them, but my feet were too torn up, so I gave up and lay back down. And for the first time since leaving home, tears began to fall. All at once, I understood that I had been thrown away, discarded like worn-out clothes. Curled up in a ball, my knees pressed into my eyes, I sobbed as if my heart had just been torn out.
Good evening. My name is Nelson Elliott Tooley. I am a lifelong resident of Watertown, Minnesota. For my 68 years, I have been in the meat and music business. We had a sausage and meat market shop for many years until I got sick about 10, 12 years ago. Close it up, but all those years I also bought and sold guitars and wrote songs and played some music. This is a song about forever, and it was in maybe 4 or 5 years after I was dating my wife, who was still my wife, and I had a little problem with the word forever, so you'll hear that. Mad little songman, he hasn't many friends. Mad little songman falls in love again. He's never been too right, never too wrong. The mad little songman just sings his song. He always knows the answer whether he's been there or not. He'll always be a comfort. He'll give you all he's got. So listen to his music. Listen to his eyes. The mad and soul man. Oh, how hard he tries. He sings of confusion. He lives that want. He lives for his lady. She's all he's got. He can't sing forever. No one truly can. Just take all you can from the little soul man.
My name is Kelser, and I live here in Chaska. And my story is called The Procrastinator. Back in February, when I heard my husband talk about this event, I said to myself, I could do that. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought I could do that. And then I knew I could do that. And I thought about the prompt, someday. It's one of my favorite words. I say it all the time. Like back when I was in high school, I told myself that someday I was going to be a doctor. And guess what? I didn't. I'm not. Probably never going to be now. Someday never came for that one. I guess I must have had other plans. I used to think I was going to write a novel and be famous like Danielle Steele. I didn't do that either. When my husband and I were dating, we were getting more serious, and we talked about getting married someday. And that happened. That someday happened 39 years ago, and together we had a lot of other somedays. We've had a great life, but I still wonder, when am I going to have my someday? The one where, you know, you say, everybody will say, oh, Barb Kelser, she's the one that did what? What good? I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not great at anything. How do I make my mark in life? I think I just procrastinate a little too much. Like last year, I went to the library, and the book I wanted was already checked out. It was called The Procrastinator's Handbook. A couple weeks later, I got an email saying, your book is here, come in and get it. But I forgot to go get it. I'm really sure I haven't done anything so far that'll be remembered by anyone. I didn't design anything. I'm not an artist. I can't sing. I can't play music, I don't design buildings, but I'm a pretty good cook. I raised 4 children, took care of our parents. I worked as a customer service manager for 40 years and listened to people's complaints. I mowed lawns. I tried to be a good woman and a good human. I gave it my best. And I'm not ready to give up yet. Last weekend, I was at the Chaska library sale, at the book sale, and there, right in front of my eyes, was the book. And I bought it. It's going to help me get my life in order, and it's going to help me achieve some of those goals and make my mark on this world. And I'm going to read it someday, real soon.
I'm Steve and Heffney. I'm from Maconia. And so the prompt I picked was Someday as well. And I guess, so I sometimes tend to write instrumental short stories, so this is one of them. And I guess what was going through my head was, trying to capture the busyness of, every day, and how few times we, get our dreams or things we want to do on the other side of someday. So that's what I was trying to capture here. So here goes.
well, sad to say we ran out of performers. It's going so good. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and sharing this experience, and quite amazing. I would also like to thank the Arts Consortium for putting this on and enabling us to do this, the City of Chaska for use of the theater here, and for Michelle for her videotaping of the show, which, by the way, will be available on the Chaska YouTube channel if you want to view it sometime. My wife, Barb, for the behind-the-scene person, who makes sure we have beverages and treats and so much more. And last but not least, the wonderful audience here. It's beautiful to see faces. And we're going to be back on October 4th for a New Song Collective again. We're going to do that in the theater here. So until then,